Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. I am Brian. I am not Bobby Durkins. I hope everyone is doing well, and thank you for joining me. I just want to go ahead and tell you, for anyone who was on the prior video that I did, I've already done a video on this, and just to be quite honest, I took too much time to get to the point, and I hate it when people do that, so I literally just deleted the video that I did, and I'm going to redo the video. So here's the basis of it. This is not clickbait. This is something that was actually brought to me by someone who we've had interactions for some time, and they met me through Bobby Durkins. And I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, I believe them. I believe what they're saying. And I'm just going to go ahead and get to the point, and then I'm going to give some commentary, and then I'm just going to go on back to work. But so someone reached out to me who has extremely close ties to Clemson football and told me that the reason things went off the rail last year and could potentially in the future go off the rails for not only us but anyone else, but it hit Clemson. That's most of us who's watching, or if you're watching this video, most of you, the thing you care about is Clemson football, or at least your hate for Clemson football. But happened on the offensive side of the ball, and it dealt with the receivers. That because other teams were encouraging the NIL deals with those receivers, with those teams, they were jealous. And I'm not saying all of them, but some of them were jealous and just absolutely, when they walked out on the field to play for Clemson, they were not happy. They were not as happy as they could be. And it affected the way they practice. They prepared themselves for practice. They played the game. And we saw dropped passes last year. We saw lackadaisical attempts to get the football. Look, DJ did not play well last year, but you and I both know that the ball was put up, and the year before they would have jumped through the roof to catch the football and made a highlight reel for their incredible playing, and it was just like it fell apart. So that is the information that was given to me, that the wide receivers, namely the wide receivers, were less than happy with their NIL deals or lack thereof, and it affected their play. So I'm going to expand on this idea and this thought, since I went ahead and gave you the point right off the bat. So if you want to click out of the video, click out of the video. But I wanted to give you the point right off the bat. Now I'm going to tell you my thoughts on it. First of all, I don't believe that everywhere I look around a corner that there's some great evil there. I don't believe that every time something happens that it's just because somebody was out to get me. At the same token, I'm also one of those people who doesn't believe that the government wants to really help me. I think that's naive. History's shown us that in several different civilizations. I'm also a person who realizes that once you introduce money into a particular arena, people have done really bad things for only a small sum of money. I've seen people break the law for $10,000 and go away and lose their influence and lose their, and listen, I would like to have $10,000 right now, but here's the truth. $10,000 is not a lot of money in the grand scheme of things, especially to go to jail for, lose your influence and respect of people. So I just want to be very, very clear there that I've seen people do some really bad things for money. And you know this. The other thing I want to address is the person who's really, really skeptical, and they step back and they say, well, Dabo says, well, the offensive players, they say, and I'm going to pose this to you. If you work for somebody, now I know somebody's going to be like, well, I do it all the time. Yeah, you need to probably be looking for a new job. Put yourself in this position. If someone walked up to you, put a microphone in front of your face and said, tell me if you're really happy with your job, would you be careful what you say? Most of us would. I'm going to answer that for you, even for the ones who's lying right now, going, yeah, I'd tell you, until the microphone's in front of your face and you prove that you're being dishonest right now just for the heck of it. These players are not going to say exactly what they feel because they know they'll face ramifications. And then Sweeney is the head of the team. He's trying to keep everything together as he should. That's why there's guys like me who can tell, I don't want to say the truth because he's not lying, but he's got a team to keep together. And I'm just talking about things that I've heard. And by the way, this was stuff that I had kind of heard some rumors about. This person solidified, and all I'm going to say is they have a really good connection with both coordinators that just left. So notice on the defensive side of the ball, Venables never lost the defense. Venables never lost the defense. The defense played fantastic last year. Any bad thing that happened to the defense last year was because the offense was 3 and out or turning over the ball. Go back and look at it. On second thought, don't do it. You might get PTSD. But I'm just telling you, and you need to think about this. The defense played lights out last year. Georgia beat Clemson last year. There's nothing that can change that. Georgia went on to have a historic season. Question, did Georgia score on Clemson's defense? No, they didn't. Go to several other games, or the other games in the season. If Clemson gave up any amount of points, go back to how much our offense gave up the ball, the turnover margin, the lack of conversions on third down. How many third downs we had? Was it a 3 and out? Go back to that and look at that, and you'll see that the defense did fantastic. It was the offense that was failing us. Yes, DJ had a very, very poor season last year. It was not good. But once again, notice those receivers. Now, Bo Collins went out and balled. I'm not saying all of them, but I am saying that if you go back and watch it, you can see there was a lackadaisical approach in a lot of it. And Ngata had some really good moments last year. He did well, but I do know and I do believe that this is not only affecting Clemson, this is affecting a lot of teams. One of my last points, if not the last point, the NIL has been a great lie to a lot of us. For instance, Tom Rinaldi. I don't know Tom Rinaldi. He may be a fantastic man, but let's just take Tom Rinaldi. If he's assigned these certain segments to do on sad stories where they're paying him, he's going to do what they tell him to do. But how many times have you been watching College Game Day? Or, it would be College Game Day. And you're having a good time, and then all of a sudden sad music came on, and Tom Rinaldi came on and talked about some poor football player. His family was poor while he's, living the dream on the football field. And then conveniently after that, NIL was talked about. I remember it. Well, here's a problem with that. First of all, I don't care if people are paid for their name on the back of a jersey because people buy it because of them. So give it to them. I could care less. I could care less if you pay them. That's totally fine. But we were told or led to believe that if you got an NIL deal, all right, if NIL was allowed, people would finally get the money that they deserved, and it would be great for them. Well, think about this. It only goes to like the top players. Most people only want the top players. I know there's some obscure deals here and there that you'll see, but the majority, like DJ, Dr. Pepper last year. You remember that? Bryce Young, you see him on Dr. Pepper. Notice they're not going to the third or fourth string of Alabama. their quarterback saying, "Hey, would you like to represent Dr. Pepper?" That's not how it works, folks. And so the point here is that unless you're one of the top players who happens to be poor, it's not helping you. And you may be able to point out a couple of instances where some player says, "I'm going to split up my earnings with all the team." That is minuscule. So we were lied to. Why? Because most people like to get behind something without looking at all the details, without reading the fine print, without understanding exactly who it's going to help, and we slap a Band-Aid on the side of a gunshot wound and expect the person to live, and it's not happening. What I really think needs to happen is the NCAA needs to just lighten up on the money that's being given to players and their families. And you can say, well, that would create chaos. Is it not chaos now? Are we not watching glorified money laundering in front of us right now? And oddly enough, to the top players who are going to go to the NFL. So if this is about helping poor players and their families, I guarantee you they're still suffering unless they're a really good football player. So I know that there's going to be holes put in this to see if it'll float, and people are just going to absolutely say that I'm crazy for this, and that's totally fine. That's all right. But if you look at college football and you see where it's at and you see where it's going, it is not looking good. The point that I failed to make was the defense did not fall off because Venables had a really good hold on it. This person said Venables is fantastic. He's intense. Said on the other side, said Elliott was really nice. He's a smart guy, but he did not have that intensity like Venables did. So therefore, he did not have the control over his entire offensive unit like Venables did. And that was a point that I'm making late here, but that was really it. So it wasn't a shock to either coach that they were terrible people. It was just one could control the side of the ball, and that's the main point. The other one just couldn't. It just seemed to not take hold for them for whatever reason. And I think that's the really big point here that we need to look at and we need to see. So look, I'm pulling for the Tigers. I hope everything works out. I hope the young men who are poor and they're hurting or their family's struggling, I hope they do get the help and the NCAA will get out of the way. If somebody has a good NIL deal, good for you. Hey, man, that's awesome. Good for you, man. But let's not lie to ourselves and act like these NIL deals are helping all these people. It's a lie. It really, really is a lie. And as we're seeing, all it's doing is we're watching players be bought under the name of helping them. That's really cute. And don't be naive and believe that. Well, look, I'm Brian Knight. I'm not Bobby Durkins. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications. Once again, I made this video, I think it's about half the time, and it still went a little longer than what I wanted to. Pass it along to anyone. And look, I'm not tearing down these coaches. I'm not tearing down our receivers. I'm not tearing down Clemson. I'm just saying if it's happening at Clemson, that's really clean. It's definitely happening everywhere else. And it explains a lot. I'm Brian Knight. Go Tigers.